Good morning and welcome to the Rabin Report. I'm your host, Elliot Rabin, so get ready to get triggered. Good morning and welcome to the Rabin Report. I'm your host, Elliot Rabin, as you might have heard in our intro. And with me, I have my expert panel as usual, Marshall, Adam, and Daniel. How are you guys?
Good.
Doing pretty good.
Good.
Yep.
Adam's just getting mic'd up. So let's, not on Facebook Live yet, but let's just start the live stream real quick. And we'll put it on the tripod later. It's on?
We're live.
Okay, so
Perfect.
we're live on Facebook now. We were a bit late, some issues, but we are live now. So let's just start with our topic. Today we're in part 5 of our 5-part series on the U.S. Elections. So let's get right to it. Holy shit! Tuesday night was the night for America to cast their vote. In a very surprising turn of events, Trump won a hard majority. It was incredible, incredibly good for some, incredibly devastating for others. Personally, I'm in shock, and so in shock, I barely have an introduction. So with that, right to the questions. Did you think this outcome was plausible at all?
I thought it was the only plausible outcome. There was no other option. Trump had to win. Really, it's just representative of the way America is, and a response to the dissatisfaction of the American people with what's going on. As soon as Brexit happened, Trump's presidential victory was inevitable, and it's the beginning of a very long and very exciting populist movement.
All right, and Daniel, what do you think?
I personally think that it was more shocking for me. Thinking that I just honestly didn't think he was gonna win. You could say that from like certain polls and stuff like that. Like even like no matter which polls were, you could say were more left or were more right. Like everyone had a general consensus that Hillary was gonna win. And you can see like not necessarily like, the problem with like the Electoral College, then more with the actual like in comparison to what the votes were and to what the and what. I just can't talk today. I'm more that's how bad I am. I'm shocked about what happened today. The fact that like, if you look at the statistics and you see that Hillary Clinton had 500 more votes, 500,000 more votes than Donald Trump, you can see like that's only happened 3 other times in American politics in a general election when the candidate with the popular vote did not win the presidency, and this is the 4th time in history that's happened. So that's pretty like crazy that actually happened. And that's more issue of like with the Electoral College in terms of like saying it was like what the people want and what the actual result is.
All right, and Adam, what is your take on all of this?
Hold on, sorry, I ran over here. Just want to catch my breath. Look, I really, since I started the radio show, I don't know if you guys have found this out by now, but half of us are conservative, and I never really paid attention to conservative media. I always read it off as, wrong, and I can't do that for much longer, so let me have my time. Always read it off as wrong and misinformed and whatever. But since I met these radio show guys, I'm like, they're educated. Conservative media must have something to it.
Is it quite conservative and educated?
Conservative and educated?
That can't happen.
That can't happen. What?
Right? It's terrible.
I know. And I apologize for my prejudice. But anyway, I towards the end of the election, after the Podesta emails were released, and the email investigation was quote unquote reopened, I decided that I'd try looking at the election from a conservative standpoint. I followed all these conservative accounts on my Twitter. I followed all these conservative accounts on my Instagram, 1776 movement, PaleoCon movement. And I realized that the enthusiasm for Trump was so much higher than Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
Like by no comparison.
Absolutely.
And
At that moment, that combination with the Podesta emails and with the email scandal being reopened, I knew Trump was going to win. Hillary Clinton's poll numbers, her margins over Trump was going further down and down. The last time I checked before the election, she had a 1.3% lead over him. And I knew it was going to happen. Yeah. So I wasn't as surprised as someone might think I might be.
I think there was one report suggesting that, I think it was the day of the election. The day of the election, they said there was a 1.5% chance that Donald Trump was going to win. Obviously, that was one particular news outlet, but it's still like surprising, like seeing like what's going on and stuff like that. Like everybody thought Hillary was going to win, and then when you see Trump win, I'm like, this can't be happening. Like that's what some people were thinking, right? So
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy.
And just to build on that, Ben Shapiro, chief editor at the Daily Wire, tweeted the following: Trump won fewer popular votes than Romney in 2012 and was about on par with McCain in 2008. Hillary lost 10 million votes from Obama. So in fact, people hated Hillary more than they liked Donald Trump. How did this happen?
Well, honestly,
it's all about the swing states, right?
that kind of surprised me more.
Yeah.
That's not what I was expecting. I mean, I knew people hated Hillary. I thought the people who hated Donald. I thought they hated Donald more than the people who hated Hillary.
You'd be surprised.
I had always thought it was kind of the other way around, that the people who liked Donald way more than the people who liked Hillary. And now in that regard, I was wrong. And I might not have been wrong completely in the sense of it all, but in the way the votes came out, yeah. And I think that just goes to show how done people were with the establishment government, with the political elite, and it would have been nice to see Donald Trump get more of the popular vote, because I think it would have shown that people had a lot more faith in him. But that's how it turned out, and there's nothing to do about it now. I mean, he won.
Yeah. For me, nobody liked Hillary Clinton. Not even the Democrats liked Hillary Clinton. They liked her because
She was a
she
safe
wasn't
choice.
Donald Trump, and she was a safe choice.
Yeah.
There's this guy I follow on Twitter. I can't recall his name now. I don't follow him, but he retweets this other guy a lot. And the other guy called what I found a very interesting term. You guys might have heard it. The
Triggered?
people that rallied, the
not
people that
triggered.
rallied behind Obama in 2008 and 2012, he called them the Obama coalition. Like the minorities, the young people, yeah.
Okay.
He called them the Obama coalition, and they said the Obama coalition failed Hillary. Because the exit report breakdown was released this morning. And there were some polls, and this was one of the most surprising parts of the election for me. There were some polls that said Trump had 0% of the black vote. 0%.
Yeah,
And
Which is
do you have the
ridiculous.
stats with you?
I can get them.
I have them
'Cause-
up. I can.
Because I know that
Yeah, I can grab them.
All right.
Sorry, Marshall.
Just in
I kind of
ter-
have Marshall's laptop hostage.
just in terms of minorities, I know that Trump got 30% of the Latino vote.
Yeah, 30% of the Latino
which is
vote.
a big deal.
See,
And
the thing
He got
about
he
it-
got 8% of blacks. That's
Yeah.
what I remember.
Yeah.
But
That's still
what I wanted to
that's
say.
still that's still
low.
better than it's low.
But it's better than 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
8% of a vote in this election
30% of
is
the
quite
Latino
a
vote is
bit.
ridiculous, and you can see that from Florida. That's why, because Florida is a swing state, and in Miami is like a very general like population.
I
something
think
like that.
Clinton won the Miami County.
She did, yeah.
You know what I'm saying is like, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
the Miami
outside
greater
of
area,
Miami,
the
yeah,
same way
yeah.
we could have like the GTA in a sense.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not so surprised that Trump got that high of Latino vote.
Neither
Me
am I.
neither. Me neither.
And I'm not surprised that Trump got that low of a black vote. I think, especially with, and Adam, you touched on this before, I think that there's a lot of Mexican, or
Non-Mexican.
people of Mexican descent who feel that the illegal immigrant Mexicans are kind of giving them a bad reputation. That's at least what I've seen. And I think that a lot of people of Mexican descent are for stronger border control.
The thing is, I know this because I have a Latino family. A big problem with non-Latino immigrants is that there have been waves of Latino immigrants into the States before Mexicans, and they came in legally.
Since the 50s.
Yeah, since the 50s. Guatemala, Ecuador.
Yeah, that's where I'm from, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
Represent. Guatemala, Ecuador, Bolivia, Brazil, huge community from Brazil. And they came in legally. And they see these Mexican immigrants come in illegally, and they get upset because they worked so hard to come in legally. They waited so long in the country without leaving. They did the process of what they were supposed to do. Even Cuban immigrants. And they have the same distaste, just like white Americans, with these, these damn illegals coming in and taking our jobs. Like,
That's a good point.
it's the same. It doesn't matter if you are of Latino ancestry. Latino ancestry has nothing to do with Mexicans.
Yeah.
You cannot generalize them.
See, that's the thing is, like, the reason why I'm not surprised that, like, Trump got, like, 30% Latino, like, approval and, like, voting, like, and voter turnout was because, the fact that, like, if people don't understand that, like, Latino, like, the general Latino population, like, I don't want to make generalizations, but, like, there's also, like, 2 points, like, the fact, like, no matter who you are, the older you get, the more conservative you become, and that's just a fact, like, of
And even
who's-
demographically speaking, the majority of conservatives were 45 and over. Or
Exactly.
the ones that voted for Trump, at least. And the younger people
Exactly.
Younger people
were Clintons.
See, but my point is, like, Latinos in general, like Latinos, like, as a whole, like I don't like using all
Well,
this
I
like
mean-
jargon from SJWs and stuff like that. But like the product of colonialism, you could say, is like Latino people are all typically generally like Roman Catholic and stuff like that, and so because of that, it's related to a lot more conservative values. Like they go hand in hand, and that's why certain like Latino people will vote for Trump, because they're related in the sense of the idea of conservatism and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like, yeah. It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Like, we
and
fully
there's
saw
a-
the signs. Like, Latinos para Trump. Like, it's crazy.
There's
like,
a lot of
Ooh,
reasons.
Nice accent there.
And I think they're big on the rule of law. Like Adam was saying, I think they feel that the illegal immigrants are
Only God is above the
compromising the rule of law.
that's for them. at
And
least.
Kanye.
Compromising the fact that like why did my family have to go through all this trouble to get in legally when we could have just come in illegally? And it's because it's unfair. It's just
And
compromise
now-
the rule of law.
And now, because of that, people are saying that illegal immigrants should be deported. This is just what people are saying. It's racist.
And yeah, I don't think that.
And
they
what
should
do
be
you what do
deported.
you say to people when they say that?
Here's the thing. I don't think that they should be deported just for being here. If they get caught doing something, if they're committing a crime and they are discovered not to have documentation, deport them. Go ahead. If they're just minding their own business and they're already here, already in the U.S. and they aren't bothering anybody, I don't think that they should necessarily be deported. That's one thing I disagree with
Like,
Trump
if they're
on.
active members of society, they should.
Yeah, I think that they should be working on getting their citizenship. I just think it's a massive waste of money and resources and time to go around and deporting these people, especially if they're not doing anything wrong. The focus should be on preventing illegal immigrants from coming in, not from getting them out.
So on that note, defending illegal immigrants from getting in, what are all of your stances on the wall? Is it going to happen? Is it real? Will it work? And has it been a factor in Trump getting elected?
See, like, nobody, like, we haven't really
Talked
have you talked-
about it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
people don't talk about the wall anymore.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that he kind of just said in the Republican primaries, and now people, like, they like the idea at first, and then, like, now, like, it's just been, like, on a plateau, and, like, nobody really cares about it anymore.
Marshall, I'll let you talk about this more, but Marshall said something yesterday that has been resonating with me. He said that the wall is a metaphor, and I really like that term.
He fully said it, didn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah.
Well, Trump never said that.
No, somebody said it.
No, you said it,
No,
Marshall.
Marshall said it.
Marshall said it.
I feel like somebody said it. No, okay. I think Trump said something how like it was going to be like a physical wall, or was it? It wasn't.
Well,
It wasn't going to be an actual wall.
I'll explain what I mean after, but anyway.
Yeah, no, basically, like, I'll let Marshall explain, but the wall is a metaphor for stronger border control.
Yeah.
It's Marshall's quote, so I'll let him take this.
So nobody, or very few people at least, believe that there's actually going to be a brick or a Great Wall
big
of China
20-foot wall, right, yeah.
esque type of thing. That's not feasible. What is feasible is similar to what Hungary has, fenced off in most areas, except in certain areas it's a bit harder to do that because there are people who live ambiguously between like the states
Like,
and
they've
Mexico.
got a house in one country and and a farm of their house in another
Exactly,
country.
because the border, especially on the California part of the border, is so ill-defined. It's so hard to do that. So no, it won't be a great big wall, or at least I really don't think it will be. It'll just be stronger border control, and it's because, and it's deceptive in a way, but I don't think it's maliciously deceptive. It's deceptive in the sense that Trump said, we're going to build a great big wall. No, they're not going to build a great big wall. They're going to build, they're going to have stronger border protection. They're going to be having people there. They're going to have fencing there. And it's because what sounds more inspiring, what can really rally the people? We're going to build a wall, or we're going to build a fence.
It's a move. It's a move from Trump to get voters.
Yeah, and
We're gonna build a wall.
I don't think it's malicious, but it's somewhat deceptive. But that's just my take on it.
Even either late last night or early this morning, Trump removed banning Muslims off his website.
Yeah, and I think that was something he had meant to do a long time ago because that is something, honestly, like, this is one of the things I really don't like about Trump is he makes these impulsive decisions, and he's the boss. He probably has people saying like, okay, no, Donald, don't do that, but he is the boss. Nobody's gonna stop him. So when he decided he wanted to ban Muslims from coming into the U.S., I think he realized later on, like, that's a bit much. But then he changed his stance to a temporary ban on immigrants from high-risk countries. I think that makes a lot more sense than just banning Muslims because, there's Muslims everywhere.
Yeah.
You can get
There have been
Muslims.
Muslims that have been there third generation. by
Exactly.
now.
You can get, you can get Muslims who are hardly even, who are very secular Muslims who
Yeah.
would never fit any of the stereotypes of a Muslim coming in from,
Albania,
Indonesia, Albania.
Bosnia,
Africa. In
Yeah.
general, as a whole.
the
Ethiopia.
Maghreb, yeah.
Somalia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
Somalia.
Well, yeah.
I don't want to generalize and make
Yeah.
assumptions. That's why.
So, let's move on. So, what is the significance of Trump's victory, regardless of the fact that Hillary got the most popular vote, but the fact that Trump actually won the election, which most people thought was a joke, including myself. I originally thought, he's not going to make it. So what is the significance of this? What does it symbolize?
Can I start?
Of course.
Cool. For me, I went on a whole rant about this on Twitter and on Facebook. I was so ready to defend Donald Trump as a liberal, and as much as I never thought I would say that sentence, I did it. This symbolizes two major things for me. One, the DNC got it bad.
It's just like the conservatives with the last election
The
in terms of like
DNC deserves
in terms of
this.
representation in the House and stuff like that.
This is sweet, sweet victory towards the DNC for me. Bernie Sanders pulled over Trump in such high margins at some point during the primaries, and they refused to acknowledge him. They called him an Obama hater. They denied him access to the Democratic database. They screwed him. Point and blank, they screwed him, or point blank. And I am so happy the DNC got screwed.
So just to go off on a tangent really quickly, would Trump have won if Bernie was selected instead of Hillary?
Oh, I was about to go into that. Like, I like sports and stuff like that, and there's lots of videos on YouTube. It's like, what if scenarios and stuff like that. I had another one. Like that's the one I was gonna say. Like, what if it was Trump versus Bernie? And
The thing
I
is,
don't know.
Even though
You couldn't really say.
I think it would have been close.
Yeah.
Would have been
Yeah.
close. Yeah.
Trump and
I-
Bernie very much represent a very similar
ideas,
idea.
like
They're just a different approach of how to
completely
do
different
it.
policies in almost every single regard, but the idea behind it, standing
Taking
up for
down the establishment.
the common, like going against the establishment, standing up for the common American, that's just what they both represent. And I don't like Bernie's policies at all. I like what he is. I like the idea of Bernie.
I like his chutzpah.
Yeah, I like his chutzpah. I don't know what
so-
that means.
Yeah, I
His craziness.
personally, I would think Bernie would have won just because when you were talking about Trump and Clinton, they're both terrible people. Like, let's be honest. But Bernie is just like a nice little Jewish
He's a
grandpa,
sweet old
little
man.
Jewish grandpa.
old frail man, and he was
Yeah.
nice. And somebody said that about Trump and Hillary. Everything I don't like about a politician isn't Hillary, and everything I don't like about a person isn't Trump.
Oh, I like that.
So
point.
apparently, this was actually a sixth grader, by the way.
Nice.
And
Children
Bernie,
are the most
Bernie,
honest people in our
Oh, yeah.
society.
Bernie, I just personally don't agree with socialism, but as a person, he was great.
No, Bernie was a very good person. He had a lot of the qualities that he was an independent, longest independent serving in congressional history.
Really?
Yeah, he's the longest
Is it in the
independent.
90s and stuff? Or no?
No,
Even farther before that?
even further before that. He was the mayor
Further,
of
sorry.
Burlington, Vermont, and then I think in '86 or '87 he got voted into Congress.
Nice.
Look, what if scenarios for me are just sort of thumbs to suck when you've made a mistake. It's sort of to consolidate and sort of to help you out and feel better when you try and look at what if scenarios. But if you look at key states that Trump won that I was so surprised by, like Michigan,
Ohio? He went Ohio
Yep.
too, right?
but that was kind of expected.
Maybe.
But like Michigan and Wisconsin, Bernie polled high there, and he won there in the primaries by like Michigan. They called it the miracle in Michigan because he won by like 2%.
What about Illinois? Did he win Illinois?
No.
No, he
Okay.
lost
I was
it.
about to
He
say.
lost it by 1%, ironically.
See, that's crazy because
Not
like
Illinois.
No,
Like-
okay, sorry, continue.
my point is saying like it's crazy that he won Illinois is that's Obama's when Obama was a senator, he was a senator for Illinois.
No, Trump did not win Illinois.
Oh, never mind. Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you said that for a second.
No,
Disregard everything I was
I'm,
about to
I'm
say
talking
then.
about the primaries, so I'm going way back.
Oh,
from that.
okay, that's what you're saying.
And I think that Bernie might have taken the election. That's what I think.
I think
I
yeah.
agree.
I think
I
he might have.
think-
But see,
Just because-
there's another point about that is like would people?
because I
I
think,
think everybody would be happy. Like
Just because Hillary and Trump wouldn't be in the running.
yeah.
because I think Bernie
Yeah.
Sanders had Obama's coalition behind him.
Mhm.
The youth, the middle-aged, the
The
middle-aged
black vote,
white.
the Latino vote.
He actually didn't have the black vote.
He didn't.
He tried really
Yeah,
hard.
and I was looking into that. It's very interesting. The black voters really like Hillary Clinton because
Because LeBron and Jay-Z and Beyonce supported her.
I mean,
No, it's
people
not true
people
at
are
all.
saying it's because
Not true
Bill Clinton was the first president to address race relations seriously since LBJ. I don't really know that much about Bill Clinton's presidency.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
I can't comment on that. I don't know.
that's what a lot of people are saying. A lot of
That's
people are
wild.
saying that Hillary worked very closely with the black community, and then
In her work for children, I know she did.
Yeah.
Because she did some amazing things for children, I have to say.
You want to specify some just so our viewers know?
Hillary Clinton, molded and begged Congress to pass a children's health care bill. And she whipped the entire Congress and just, she campaigned hard for that children's health care bill, and it passed. And that was Hillary Clinton's baby. That was Hillary Clinton's child. She got 8 million children covered overnight, which I think
Wow.
is beautiful.
Regardless if you're Democrat
Yeah,
or Republican, that's
exactly.
you
very
have to
admirable. You know,
you have to acknowledge the fact
Yeah.
that she has done some good work.
Like, children aren't part of politics. They're not part of the two aisles. They're not part of anything. If your
It's a vulnerable
child is
group, yeah.
sick, it does not matter if you're Democrat or Republican. You need health care for your child. And if you're dirt poor, Hillary Clinton will save your child, basically. Another thing that I wanted to go off quickly was that Trump winning represented America's dissatisfaction with the establishment.
absolutely.
50 odd years since the March on Washington, 40 something years since Roe v. Wade, and nothing has changed in terms of access to abortion and access to women's health care and black rights. Okay, things have changed for black rights. They're not segregated washrooms, segregated drinking fountains, but it's more subliminal now rather than out in the open.
it's not blatant racism.
It's not
as you can
blatant
see.
racism. So you want to call it systemic? I don't know if I'm educated enough to use that word, but there is a lot of inherent racism in people. There's a lot of inherent racism in U.S. laws that nobody really touches on. And that hasn't changed regardless Democratic, Republican, House controlled, Senate controlled, both controlled. It doesn't matter. Trump came in and was like, I'm going to make America great. And that included black people as well.
Yeah. And, you know, it really made me sad, honestly. Like, it hurt my heart to read these things about people saying, like, I saw a lot
The
of tweets
death of
saying,
America,
like, well,
stuff
not
like
even
that.
that, not even that. The people who were tweeting out, like, if you know any black people, gay people, Muslim
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
give them a hug and tell them that you're okay with them.
Yeah,
because
like
they need
Muslim
that.
people, you know, Allah will forgive you if you don't wear the hijab. Like,
And it made
it'll
me
be
it made me
okay.
really sad because that's just not it's baseless. It's just and I do get where it comes from. I think there are absolutely racists who supported Trump, and I
Of
think
course.
that there
He got the KKK's endorsement.
yeah, and I think that there are racists who supported Hillary, and I think that there are
Oh,
racists
yeah.
who supported Bernie Sanders. There are probably racists who
Supported Gary Johnson,
Gary
Jill
Johnson,
Stein.
Jill Stein, everybody. And I think it's really terrible how much the media likes to manipulate minorities
Yeah.
And
That's a good point.
and make them feel as though certain people, Donald Trump in this case, and Mike Pence, are against them.
Yeah.
I
and
see people spreading misinformation, and
The
honestly, like,
electrocution of gay people and
yeah,
stuff
like
like
Yeah.
that.
Mike Pence did not say that he believed gay people should be electrocuted until they're straight. That's just completely falsified.
He
It's-
did support gay conversion
Well-
therapy, and gay conversion therapy does include electrocution.
What that comes from was an email he sent saying that the service should be available for people who wish to change their sexual behavior. I do think that that can be interpreted as gay conversion therapy, but the way people frame it, the way people kind of drive
Yeah,
the
they
narrative
put words in his mouth for sure.
is they say like he's going to electrocute all the gay people until they're all straight. Like
Sounds like Alex Jones.
yeah, it's honestly like people call Alex Jones crazy, which he is, but the the Anderson Coopers and the Rachel Maddows and the
Yeah.
Samantha Bees.
Samantha Bees are just as bad.
And so continuing on that note, as we were talking about Trump, many people have said, including to me personally, that if you support Trump, you're mirroring his beliefs, as in you're sexist, racist, xenophobic, homophobic, transphobic, and every other buzzword. But you know, then saying Hillary supporters mirror Hillary, you know, by perhaps lying. Nobody would ever say that, but neither are true though, because for the most part, yet the mindset has only been directed at Trump supporters. And is there a way to show that these statements aren't true? And if so, how? Like, I've been personally told that because I support Trump over Hillary, that I support a racist, sexist, misogynist, you know, xenophobe, those ideologies,
Yeah.
even though, you know,
don't.
even sexism by itself, my freaking idol is Celine Dion. Like, where do you want me to go with that? You know, and
yeah.
people have said, oh, that's not enough. I'm sorry. If one of the most important people to me is a woman, besides my mom, my aunt, my grandma, and the women in my family, like, just get over yourself.
And
Elliot's,
I want to
heart,
put this.
Elliot's heart will go on.
I want to.
It will.
I want
It
to
will.
say this on the record, and I just want this to be known. If I were living in the United States, no matter what state I was living in, I would have voted for Donald Trump, and I would have said that as far back as the final five of Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump, John Kasich, and Ted Cruz. And you know, let's throw Marco Rubio in there too. I would have I would have voted for Donald Trump,
Little
no
Marco.
problem, and I would have felt good about it. And I don't like. I love Muslim people. I love gay people. I love black people, Latino people, whatever. I don't carry any kind of discrimination, and I think it's terribly ignorant and just terrible to say that to accuse people of these things. Those are terrible accusations to make when they aren't true, and those are terrible accusations to make
Yeah.
even if
So-
they might be true, but you don't have the evidence to back it up.
So what can we do to stop this?
Look, I did I took a society class in high school, and I'm going somewhere with this. My final essay for the society class was about housing discrimination. Basically, in short, you know, certain groups can't get housing based on human rights violations by landlords. What I learned about discrimination in a whole, it's that any factual evidence of discrimination is all anecdotal. That's the biggest problem with finding evidence on discrimination. You know, you can find one a-hole on Facebook telling all Muslims to go back to their country and then hashtagging Make America Great Again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an example of a racist Trump supporter. But I also read this Humans of New York post yesterday about a Muslim that
Oh,
was
it's a great
following
spot.
Trump. Did you? Yeah, you saw that?
No. I love the idea
Yeah.
of Humans of New York.
Yeah, I like that it's still going.
didn't see
I'm
that,
proud
though.
of the guy. There's a Humans of New York post about a Muslim that was following Trump the entire campaign, and the first sentence she said in the post was, or she told Brandon, the guy, was that I never felt hated. I was with Trump's campaign the entire 600 days. She's a hijab. She's a veiled Muslim. She said, I never felt hated. What was weird for her was that she was talking to Trump supporters and she would ask, do you believe in the Muslim ban? And some of them would say yes. And then they would say, but I'm a Muslim. And she would say, but I'm a Muslim. And he was like, yeah, but you're different. So she was kind of, caught between a rock and a hard place.
It's like you're a Muslim, but you're not the type of Muslim
The
we're
type of-
talking about
yeah.
banning.
So that in itself, and then like her neighbor is a Trump supporter, and she goes over all the time for dinner, and then the neighbor's son was like, Dad, how can you support Trump? Sarah is our neighbor, and then he's like, oh, don't worry, son, Trump isn't actually going to do it. So that was the hard part of her campaign, not the racists or Muslim haters or whatnot. So I think that there are obviously racists on both sides of the aisle who supported Clinton and who supported Trump. But the problem with our immediate resort to calling Trump supporters racist is, I think, a lot to do with the media. The media did not stop associating Trump and racism for 600 days. Regardless of what you listen to, it'll get to you at some point.
And the media basically, continued that idea that Trump hates minorities, even though he received more black, female, and Latino votes than many Republicans in the past. And what types of people are these people that vote outside the mainstream beliefs? Like, what do you make of these people? What do you make of black people voting for Trump? What do you make of Muslim people voting for Trump? What do you make of women voting for Trump? Because the whole narrative is that you should not vote for them. Vote for Hillary.
And I think it's wonderful.
And I just want to add, you know what? People have perfectly good reasons to vote for Hillary, but just these people that stand outside of the general narrative, like Milo Yiannopoulos. Yes, he's bordering on alt-right, but just as
Like
an example.
Malik Trump,
Malik Obama, yeah.
Malik Obama.
He's Obama's brother or
Half
cousin?
brother.
Half-brother, yeah.
True.
So
And
he supported Trump. So just continue. Yeah.
I think it's wonderful because I don't care. I don't think it's necessarily great that black people are voting for Trump. I don't think that's why it's good. I think it's good to see, not following the narrative that you're supposed to follow. I don't know who typically votes right wing. I guess like
White people.
white Christians, white and let's say white uneducated Christians.
I love the poorly educated.
To see them even voting left is nice. I just like to see people not voting because of their identity, because of things they were born with.
Yeah.
Voting because of what you think is best for the country.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to go to New York on Martin Luther King Day
Oh, that's cool.
back in January, and I went to the Apollo Theater. The Apollo Theater is on an intersection called Malcolm X Road and Martin Luther King Boulevard. It's in the heart of Harlem, the black community, and I went to a speaker series about racism in America and the election. And the guy talking in the election, it was a reverend, and he was the headliner of this thing. And he was talking about the fact that he hates the elections because every time the Democrats come out and they say black people vote, and they group black people like cows, like cattle. And they say, come out and vote. Vote your conscience. The other guy's a racist. He's going to give you nothing. Black people have been voting Democrat since Goldwater. And they haven't really gotten much in return. Voters who are black don't vote while black. They vote while being people. If you want to vote based on your identity, that's your right.
Absolutely.
You are the only person alone in there with a pen behind a curtain when you bubble in who you want to vote for.
And that's what I think, was a lot of the reason Trump won, because people didn't want to publicly say it because they'd be shamed and stuff like that. So the silent majority won. So just continuing on to that, voting based on race, CNN used a term called white lash. So what does it mean, and what in terms of Trump's victory?
Personally, I believe that Trump's victory had a lot to do with, he brought out the white vote. We talk about the black vote, Latino vote, whatever. He brought out the white vote. And a lot of blue-collared white people in America were scared of what was happening to their country. They were scared of values that did not represent them, the gay rights ruling. They were scared of the American narrative shifting towards minority voters, because America is traditionally a white country, and that scared them. And I think a lot of people voted out of fear of America's turning, America's demographic shifting. And I think that in any event, people would say people voted for Hillary Clinton out of fear. I think people voted for Donald Trump out of fear of their country.
And I can agree with that. And I don't think that, I think that there's different people, like not everybody's afraid of the same things. Not everybody's afraid. Like, people are afraid, and I can see why. I don't necessarily agree with being afraid, but I can see why. I can understand
Sympathize.
them. I can sympathize. And now, the white lash thing, I thought it was Van Jones who said that, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was just ridiculous. It was very
do you mind
silly.
closing the door? Thanks, buddy.
I thought, especially when he goes, I have Muslim friends who are saying, "What do I say to my kids?" That just blew my mind that that's even a thing. What do you
Could
say to your
someone
kids?
explain white lashing to me after you're done your little tangent? But
Because what do you say to your kids when they think they have a monster under their bed? I don't know. Tell them they're wrong. You don't have to coddle your kid and go, yeah, or not even coddle your kid, scare your kid and go, yeah, the entirety of the United States is out for your head now. Like, that's not true.
That's funny because,
That's just blatantly lying to your kid, and that's forcing a false narrative on them, and just, it's ridiculous. I can't even believe that's a question. What do I say to my kids?
I'm not gonna argue the validity of the certain newspapers, but like 24 and Metro, like they like being political and stuff like that. I think Metro is the ones like they talk a lot about Hillary,
and they put Hillary on the cover on the day of the election, saying
and
great job.
24 has been like a bit more Trump, and that's cool too. Like I've been reading both, try not to keep like a bias. There was an actual photo I think there where it was trying to pull it up. It was a photo of a daughter sitting at a chair, I think, during Hillary Clinton's party that she had in New York. And the daughter's sitting on the chair, and the mother has her head on her lap, and she looks so sad. She actually thinks that
the world's on.
The end is nigh. Like that's crazy. Like that's an over exaggeration.
Look, in the same. Sorry, did I cut you off?
No.
In the same event that I wasn't surprised that Trump would win, I feel like I won't be surprised in recent weeks if I hear about an arson of a mosque, or if I hear about the vandalization of a gospel black church. And in that regard, I think that another thing about this election is that it gave the alt-right a voice. Because a lot of I don't necessarily want to call Donald Trump alt-right, but a lot of his supporters are alt-right.
And there's a lot of people who call themselves alt-right who might hear that and think that we're being unfair to the alt-right. I think a lot of people who call themselves alt-right don't know what alt-right means.
Yeah.
They don't realize, like, they think of alt-right and they think about, like, meme conservatives.
Oh, you can see right here, like, even with our campus, like...
Yeah, people call themselves alt-right all the time and don't understand what it means.
I'm not talking about alt-right. I'm saying, like...
People who
everybody
are not...
just says, like, I'm liberal.
Yeah.
Is it why? It's like, because I voted for Trudeau, and that's it.
That does not mean anything.
Yeah.
Okay, like, what, are you part of the Liberal Party? Do you actually read what they're talking about? Do you agree with what Trudeau's, like, plans are and stuff like that? Like,
Yeah.
And
just say it.
Not that the alt-right are the... Like, I don't like them. I personally disagree with what they say. It's about protecting the white people, like, protecting the white culture. Like, they're very against, like...
Mayonnaise?
Race mixing. But people... And they aren't violent, typically. They aren't always white supremacists, but they just think that,
They're
people,
definitely more radical, though, for sure.
And there's probably a degree of white supremacy, but they're just very much against race mixing. That's inherently where it comes from. People call themselves alt-right so much because they associate it with the Twitter accounts like Mike Ma and Sadie is on fire and a lot of these really funny meme accounts that tweet about Donald Trump and Pizza Party Ben, who's probably the biggest one.
Oh, yeah, I follow that guy.
Those guys are not alt-right, and they, in the past, have called themselves alt-right before they knew what it was. And honestly, if that's just your thing, if you like conservative memes, doesn't mean you're alt-right. You might want to look into what alt-right means before you start calling yourself
alt-right
that.
does have, its roots are very racist, for what I know.
Yeah.
Look, I hate generalizing, but I'm going to generalize for a second. a lot of people group white people into being racist. If you're white, you're a racist,
Yeah.
or you're more likely to be a racist. Let's start there.
And in your
It still happens,
and-
but people think like we're living in like 1820s Alabama.
and they think
you know?
that everybody is racist, right? And just because I've had this, just because I'm white, I have privilege, and
Well,
we're gonna talk
yeah.
about privilege itself as a whole thing. But I actually fall under a minority, Judaism, because Jews are a minority. But because I'm a white man, all of a sudden,
No, I think white people have privilege.
like
to a
like
certain
in
extent.
a way, but not just like the idea of white privilege. I believe has been invented just to silence many people's opinions. There's some sort of I don't some sort of privilege in a way. I don't know. We're gonna discuss it.
Yeah.
I'm not fully
I'm not gonna
fully
talk about
against
it now, but when
yeah.
we talk about it, I'll talk about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's gonna be another
Now
huge
we
argument.
have 10 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that we need to cover? Like, do we have a lot more things to cover? Or?
We can talk about the
What now?
the polls. Adam, you were saying that you believe the polls were wrong because Trump supporters felt like they had to hide their support for him. So, like,
Yeah.
we were watching CNN live stream and the Guardian live stream. So, a liberal and a conservative. And the Guardian reported that Trump won Florida 20 minutes, and CNN reported it
longer than 20 minutes.
like way, way later. And they kept saying that it was too early to
Too
call.
close to call. Too close to call.
And it was, you could see the bias.
Yeah.
And apparently BuzzFeed, you can fact
Okay,
check
but,
me
like,
because I didn't
That's
check,
not a
but-
credible site.
I know, but so I'm saying, right? Like they were saying that Clinton was winning the whole time. Other sites were saying Trump was winning the whole time. But so what do you say? Because that was your belief
Yeah.
that the polls were rigged and all that.
Like I said earlier when I was trying to catch my breath, I don't know if I made sense. I sort of dove into conservative media towards the end of the election. I'm like, you know what? I want to look at this election as a Trump supporter. I want to look at this election
Just for
as
educational
Just for
purposes.
educational purposes. I'm still a liberal. I don't think I will ever be conservative. Maybe when I'm 60. But
65, try 65.
Yeah, 65.
When your pension
When I
comes in,
go on
that's how you
pension.
know.
Yeah, exactly. For me, every time I'd look at a poll, it would be like 40-something% Trump, 40-something% Clinton, 5% Johnson, 1% Stein, and then 6 can't say / don't know. In this election, let's say, if you want to say can't say, don't know 6%, let's say 3% can't say, 3% don't know. Why wouldn't you want to say who you're voting for? Who is
they're
the
scared.
only
Because they're
candidate?
scared.
Yeah.
Who is the only candidate that you would feel ashamed to vote for? Trump.
It's true.
You want to vote Garrett Johnson, Jill Stein? You have your own reasons.
Some people might laugh, but
And
they're
nobody
like,
will
oh,
fight you
cool.
on it.
Honestly,
That's
good for you. If you want to vote a third party, good for you.
Absolutely.
I have friends who have, and they
Yeah.
made very, very compelling arguments for why they did.
And good for them, because
And
if you vote a third party, then you are so politically involved, and
Yeah.
I'm proud of that. If you all the candidates, and you pick the one that has no chance to win, but you believe in, and that's democracy.
And if
Yeah.
you shame people for
It's
voting third
that's
party,
that's the true exercising of your right to
Yeah.
vote.
if you shame people for voting third party, you suck. Stop voting.
Yeah,
Just stop.
honestly.
Stop participating.
You
in
honestly
civics.
suck.
Just
Yeah.
if you,
wanna
shame people
Like,
for
some
voting,
people only
period.
laugh for the sole fact that
Yeah.
you already know they're not going to win.
Yeah.
But if
you believe in them, and you believe in democracy
see, that's
because
the
you
thing,
cast a
like
vote.
here, like in Canada, like before, like the NDP was like almost like a joke.
Oh yeah,
And then now, like,
and then
no,
because
they're-
of Jack Layton, they
Yeah.
got
yeah, exactly.
official opposition.
And exactly, and that's more. I think that's it creates a more healthier democracy too. The fact that there's
Yeah.
multiple parties and stuff like that.
they're not going to get representation in the House of Representatives for sure. But good for them.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Also, like another what if scenario in terms of like that. What if like those votes of like for Johnson and Stein, like maybe if they went to Clinton, like maybe there was a
I
possibility
don't know.
that
Johnson
there was-
votes could
there
go to
could've, like, shifted
Stein,
the
but
vote, you know?
Stein votes could go to Clinton for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where would Evan McMullen's votes go? Because different polls reported that he was second, and different polls reported that he was third.
It
For
depends.
context, he was second / third
For the-
in Utah.
for the benefit of the doubt, and let's say for the
wanna
possibility
go
of a
Trump.
change outcome, if they went to I don't know, whatever.
Anyway,
I don't think would it matter though. Was
No.
the margin
Well,
even
just
that
just
far?
what ifs,
Exactly.
right?
Utah only had 6 votes.
Yeah.
Look, like as I was saying, 3%. Let's say 3% of the 6% don't know, can't say. If 3% went to Trump, that would put Trump at 45% Trump, 41% Clinton. Like that's
Clear.
Like that's a
difference.
clear thing. And when you are alone in that voting booth behind a curtain with a pencil
Yeah.
and a bubble sheet, it's just you and the piece of paper.
You and your conscience.
No media, no mom yelling at you that you're a racist, no people roasting you on Facebook and tagging you in an essay. It's you and the bubble sheet.
And just to talk about the bubble sheet, Marshall, you had a friend who actually had some voter fraud issues. I want to make this brief because I have one last question. So if you could just state the situation and what happened.
So this my boy Adonis, he
I love that name.
he's a guy I talk to about politics on Twitter here and there. He's got a great Twitter account. You can find him at Adonis_Hotep. That's AEDONIS. Hotep is HOTEP.
Blessed.
Or I'm sorry, he's at Lord Adonis. Anyway, so Adonis, he went to vote in Philadelphia, very blue area, and I mean Philadelphia overall very blue, and he's voting Republican. He goes to click on Donald Trump on the computer voting machine. Nothing happens. He can get Hillary to light up. He can get Tim Kaine to light up. Can't get Donald Trump, Mike Pence to light up.
Yikes.
He took a video of it. He's trying. His video actually went viral. He got in contact with CNN, with Ann Coulter about it, and it's got over like 12,000 retweets at this point.
Wow.
But yeah, so eventually he goes to get it fixed, and he talks to the lady, and she goes, "What? You don't want to vote Democrat?" And he goes, "No, I'm voting Republican." And she fixes it for him, and he gets it all done. But I mean,
That little kind of
Wow.
factor.
I would have thought it was just a technical error, and I still think it probably just was a technical error.
Well, I hope it is at least. you know?
Until that, like that raises some
I've
eyebrows.
seen videos of like in early voting polls, sometimes the person has to physically collect it, and like she threw out a Trump supporter's early vote for Donald Trump. Elliot, you wanted to ask us one more question.
Yeah, so just very quickly, like 30 seconds to answer each. Lastly, what can we expect to see from Trump in the future as president of the United States?
Honestly, I have absolutely no freaking idea.
No idea?
Trump has said so much and done nothing because he has no political experience. He's pro-life one day, pro-choice another. He's pro-funding Planned Parenthood one day, pro-defunding Planned Parenthood another. Pro-Muslim, anti-Muslim. Pro-Mexican, anti-Mexican. You know, climate change real, climate change, a hoax made up by the Chinese. You will never know what Trump is going to do. My only expectation for Trump is that he's a New York Republican, which basically leans toward liberal.
I'm gonna say
Marshall, what do
within-
you say?
Within the first couple weeks, we're going to see the process of repealing Obamacare and starting to tax foreign businesses or American businesses that operate out of the country. And I just want to say, I think this is the beginning of something a lot bigger. Look out for what's happening in Germany, France, and Australia right now. I think Donald Trump's presidency is really going to affect their next elections,
Yeah.
And
Especially in France.
especially.
and Daniel?
I'm not, I don't want to talk about necessarily what Trump's going to be doing like in office. I'm more scared about what the public's going to be doing because of like outcry and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
there was a
Go
20
see-
block protest in
go
New
see-
York.
like-
People were burning
So, like,
flags.
same way
Yeah.
same way you're watching out for like other countries and stuff like that and the repeal of Obamacare. I'm saying watch out for people dying, and that's not like I'm like some people may laugh at that, but
No, it's a perfectly
if there's
valid.
like there's all of these people in the left that like are like super like anti-Trump, not even like pro Hillary. If they find any Trump supporters, they're gonna land some fists. Like there's gonna be a fist fight. There's gonna be riots. There's gonna be police. Like they're gonna be try to like police. Like they're gonna try to police everything. And particularly in major cities like on the East Coast. That's what I'm predicting.
Yeah.
And just it's scary
No,
that
and
like
Hillary
some people are gonna be so
Clinton's-
violent for what just happened.
Yeah, and Hillary Clinton's concession speech, she said America is more divided than we thought, and I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another thing that I just want to add really quick is that I do have expectations for Trump. I don't think he's going to repeal NAFTA. I don't think he's going to invade NATO. What I think he's going to do is restrict NAFTA and tighten America's responsibility in NATO.
Absolutely.
So
What about and
we-
also the Trans-Pacific?
Yeah, we
TPP.
do have to go. So I just want to thank my panelists for being on the show.
Thanks for having
I
us.
want to thank
Never
everybody
gonna
for
talk about the
listening
election
to.
again.
I want to thank everybody for listening to this show, and especially our 5-part series. Next week we'll bring you a complete different episode. We didn't. Choose an idea yet, but we will.
We have a general gist.
And I just want to point out again, people have opinions. Just because you have different opinions, it doesn't mean it's wrong. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.